Testing, 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 1, 2. Testing, 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 1, 2. Okay, 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 okay. Yay, yay, yay. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey. Sorry it starts late. Hello, hello, hello. It is Tuesday. 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 And, yeah. Rainy Tin Shack. Rainy Tin Shack. Here we go. I'm running Rainy Tin Shack because, like, psychosomatic make me feel like it's cool and rainy. Let's see here. What's the weather forecast? Big temperature change coming your way. Please God, yes. I'm looking at the weather forecast. It's 89 degrees currently outside, which means I've got two air conditioners blasting away in here, and I've got fans all over the place, and yeah, it's exhausting. Okay, we're supposed to get a few thunderstorms in the afternoon tomorrow. Thank God. Um, Eating a popsicle. Rain for the next 2 days at least. Ugh. Okay. And it is roasting right now. High humidity, pretty high humidity, and just no breeze. And when the sun beats down on this trailer, like I've said before, I could cook a chicken on my kitchen counter. Excuse me. Mm. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Where's my live dashboard? Hello, Riley King. Hello, everybody. Let's see. We've got how many people in channel? We got three. We got three. Three. I know I'm invigorated. Let's see here. Let me add that's a playlist, and let me add a few more things. Media files. Uh, that one, that one is currently showing that's gun statistics. Guns versus violent crime per nations and states and so on and so forth. And yeah, the numbers are in. More guns, less crime. That's simple. We've been saying that. They're not going to listen. They're not going to listen, but they can't pretend that the evidence isn't there. Uh, it's sort of what you call pre-establishing guilt. Excuse me. Eating popsicles, trying to stay cool. Well, you'll have to excuse me. I'm still eating a popsicle. It's either eat the darn thing or watch it melt right in my lap, you know? Oh, goodness. What was the thing? Latest chapter of Darth Vulcan, The Rise of Darth Vulcan. Yeah? What did she say? You say you saw a video of the creators panel with Faust and Bonnie, Zachary in attendance, and Faust was asked about Scootaloo not flying. What did she say? Well, don't leave me hanging, brother. Don't type something like that and then take forever to write it back. Oh, blech. Ooblich. Popsicle. What did she say? Come on. You're killing me here, King. Yeah, well, that's not cute, okay? I'm going to go with the original answer she gave and the one that she put on the web, that Scootaloo's a late bloomer. Look, some dreams can't come true. That's a truism. It's not an excuse. The reason some dreams don't come true is because either because they shouldn't come true or because nobody tried. Any dream can come true, but it costs. And this isn't like dreaming of being a rock star, okay? This is the equivalent of dreaming of walking. Exact wrong message to send, Mrs. Faust. Now, I am seriously an admirer of Mrs. Faust, Lauren Faust, the work she did, and the creative, creative values she stuck to, and the concepts the larger concepts she stuck to when she made the show. But she did make some serious mistakes. For one thing, her original plan was basically to turn My Little Pony into basically Sailor Moon with multicolored horses. It would basically be like the season openers and enders from end to end. No slice of life, nothing like that. It's the slice of life stuff that made the show as good as it is. Fortunately for us, executive meddling worked in creative favor this time. Excuse me, I'm leaky popsicle. And no, you're talking to the wrong person with that idea. You really are, because I hate to put it down, to lay it down, but as a Christian, I have a far more optimistic philosophy than that. Calling it optimistic makes it, happy-go-lucky, keep your fingers crossed. Sound. I'm more. I wish I knew a word for what the attitude is. Stubborn determinism. I don't know. Uh, it's you've only failed when you quit trying. I may not be able to live. I have times where I'm just, dunked in my own despair, and I can't see past past the next hour. I've got a really cynical, negative, natural, default uh, outlook on life. But I have learned that you do not give up, especially on something that absolutely positively should be. The only reason that we have what we have today is because people who came before us fell down facing forward. Think about the American Revolution. Think about think about all the people who died fighting for that cause. You realize that most of them went in. They knew that it was likely they weren't going to live to see the fruits of their labor. They thought it was worth. They thought it was worth dying for. They, they didn't go, oh well, some dreams just aren't meant to be, and just sit down on the road and, suck sour cream. And no, she really disappoints me if she thinks that's if she's going to go with that idea. She disappoints me badly. For Scootaloo to not ever learn how to fly, or to never find a way to fly, when she is literally surrounded by people that can literally turn reality inside out with a thought. No. To leave her crippled requires a level of contrivance that absolutely destroys the show. It requires that everybody, not even make it, it requires that everybody quit trying years ago. And either that, or they're such self-centered dicks that they didn't even bother. Oh my, we'd better make sure that Rainbow Dash's turtle can fly. because we wouldn't want to break poor Rainbow Dash's heart, but, her little orange sidekick, oh, let the little cripple walk everywhere. They'd have to be either be wicked, stupid, or oblivious. Take your pick. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta run. Rest from nature calls. Be right back. I return. And I'm back. Oh, tummy acting up a bit. No, I don't want to hear her say it. I don't want to see her say it. Forget it. Well, frankly, if she says something that doesn't make sense in the context of the show, I treat it the same way I did with J.K. Rowling suddenly proclaiming months after the fact that Dumbledore was gay. And I'm like, yeah, right, honey. Wonder where that came from. Couldn't possibly be the gay mafia leaning on her. Oh, come on, let's be real here. They got, I guarantee you, the reason that J.K. Rowling declared Dumbledore gay years literally after her last book was written was so that she could get a bunch of the militant gay mafia off her back. You didn't put any gay people in the cast. You didn't put any gay people in there at all. We're offended and we're going to make your life miserable until you do something about it. Hey, look, if you can take a dick up the butt, you can take the fact that you're not center stage all the time, alright? Anyways. Some dipstick probably got on Faust's case. Oh, you ought to make her handy capable. This was probably the only way she'd get him to shut up. Okay, I'm probably going to have to dash for the bathroom in a minute again. My stomach is really rumbling up. No, they want handy capable characters in the show. They just don't in the children's show. They just don't want the wrong kind. Remember Derpy Hooves? Derpy Hoof scandal. They had the first time she appeared and had her own talking, her own lines. They gave her a goofy voice and a goofy smile, and she did some clumsy things and yay woohoo and some sensitive soul out there. Some bleeding heart soccer mom got upset because her mentally challenged little boy, she felt her mentally challenged little boy was being insulted by this character. And so she got all offended on his behalf and threw a temper tantrum until they went back and censored Derpy's voice, name, and even her eyes. So that she didn't look too, so she didn't. That's what I love about it. They got snips and snails there. They're just being goofy characters. Derpy comes along. It's an insult to retarded people. See, it's only hurtful to the wrong groups if it includes a female character. If it's a male character, screw him, course, I've harped on this before. You know it, I know it. They got it from one person who got her panties in a twist. It all comes down to that. I thought of something for ages. You've got all these people that you got, the whole fat thing, for instance. You've got the fat acceptance mafia out there. All these women are saying, "Oh, you should accept us no matter what size we are, 300, 400 pounds. It shouldn't matter, blah blah blah." And then you got these other people who are throwing a fit. Oh, these Barbies over here, these Barbie doll people. They putting ideas into our children's heads, making them anorexic, and then you got the people over here who said, "Oh, you disgusting people! Why exercise, skinny down, lose that fat, you horrible pig!" The health Nazis, the fat acceptance Nazis, the Barbie doll, the anti-Barbie doll crusade, all of that crap. I've got a solution for all of them at the same time. Every last one of them has one or two at least partially valid points. Unfortunately, that doesn't make up for all the batshit crazy and the rest of what they're saying. But here's how to address all those situations simultaneously. The health Nazis and the social justice warriors and the fat acceptance crowd and the fashionistas, all these people. Pretty is as pretty does. Isn't that amazingly simple? They used to teach it on the Mickey Mouse show. They had Annette Funicello singing it along to the guitar, Pretty is as pretty does. And, they used to teach that to kids. Pretty is as pretty does. It doesn't matter if you're 100 pounds. It doesn't matter if you're a fashion model, a Twiggy stick figure, a 300-pound Mamma Mia, or a health Nazi. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. And it doesn't matter what size or shape or what you look like. If you are a genuinely kind and decent and caring person, you'll never see a more beautiful looking person than that. And throw on top of that, take care of yourself. A decent person does at least try to take care of themselves. Not all of us are going to succeed. But that should be a secondary issue. Instead of fussing about what body images these magazines are selling, why aren't they talking about the inner self that these magazines are selling. You know, they got these actresses and models and female musicians. You know, you wouldn't let them within 20 feet of your own backyard. You'd be calling animal control if you saw these women in their neighborhood. It doesn't matter what they look like. They're wretched people. But we idealize how they look, or what correct attitude they have about how they look. And it's garbage. You should love me despite. You should think I'm beautiful despite the fact that I'm 500 pounds. Well, no, I don't care about I don't care about the fact that you're 500 pounds as much as the fact that you are the kind of person who would wreck yourself that hard and then be in denial about it. You're more interested in spitting acid at anybody under a size 30. I don't care how fat you are. If you come on the beach and you're body shaming me, shut up. And if you're a skinny person, you come on the beach and you see, oh, look at that whale. Shut up too. That stupid woman who is so upset about derpy hooves because she's stereotyping the mentally handicapped. No, can you be more oblivious? She was an animation error on like the first or second episode, and the fans spotted her. They gave her a name, then they gave her a job, and then they gave her a personality and a daughter, and put her in a romantic relationship with an eccentric genius. The animators gave her the eyes. It was the fans that gave her everything else. Her family, and they adore her. She has literally become among my Little Pony fans. She is literally the archetype of the perfect mother love. That's what they've made of her. I can show you hundreds of pictures of derpy hooves, as goofy as can be, loving on our little daughter Dinky. Even despite the fact that she has a visual handicap and that she's a little clumsy, and sometimes she's written as being a little absent-minded or goofy, but she still adores her daughter, and her daughter adores her. And that's the fans did that. That's kind of awesome. That soccer mom with her "Shun the crooked-eyed mare," she put more hate on Derpy than all the fans combined. The fans loved her. She hated her. What's wrong with this picture? Yeah, I downloaded some of these images. These are animated images. Oh, I love. Yeah, good. The animations are working. This is what the fan. This is what. This is the best of what fandoms can bring out. This is what people were thinking of when they created the idea of things settling out into the common domain, the public domain, that it can inspire greater works. The Creative Commons. We've seen the worst of what fans can do to something, but we forget about the best. We forget about that entirely, and that's kind of a shame. Here, let me move this up a little bit. Look at it. Is that beautiful? That's a rendering of Chrysalis. Look at. I am jealous. I want to find them. I want to find this artist, eat their heart, and steal their magic powers. As the saying goes. Look at that. That's gorgeous. It really is. One guy drew these and somebody else animated them, in case you're wondering. Gorgeous stuff. This is what made me fall in love with a fandom. The incredible heights they can reach. It is an interesting image. You have to look at it before you realize what it is. Is that notice the glow around her horn. She is obviously feeling depressed, and so she's casting an illusion of a unicorn to give her a hug. Very subtle detail. You don't pick up on it, but it's... Highland, that saying, pretty is as pretty does. They did it all the way back, Yeah, it's an old saying. And that's the problem. It's not used often enough. Pretty is as pretty does. Not a difficult concept to grasp. Well, it's a joke. It's a joke among artists. Because you'll stumble across... It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what art you do. You will stumble across somebody who has a style. Or level of talent. Or just sheer skill. And you'll be like, oh... And they will floor you. And you're like, what, how do I psychically drain his powers into me? Because there's no way that you're ever going to reach that level. Darn it. Oh, there we go. Give me a second here. Something locking up. Mm. See. Having trouble getting this silly thing to... Bug just flew up my nose. Lovely. Yay. Hooray. I hate that. Oh. Ah. Oh. The latest chapter of Darth Vulcan is up. I know, I've been getting a lot more work done on Darth Vulcan than on anything. I apologize for that, really. I just... Hold on. Oh, another one. I got lots of little, like, gnats or something flying around at the moment. I think I left out a banana or peel or something, and... That's what I hate about the... maybe I'll move out to the desert or something. I've lived in cold places, like, well, relatively cold, and I've lived down in the south in like Florida and Tennessee. I ought to try, one of these days, Well, I may not be doing too much moving anymore in the future because of my physical condition. But if a miracle occurs and I am restored to full motility, and my legs are, my legs shrink down back to normal or something, one of these, I gotta try living in a hot, dry climate. I don't think I'd enjoy cold and dry. I have enough trouble with cold and snowy, and I hate it when I hate living in cold areas where it doesn't snow enough. I hate it because when it doesn't when a place doesn't snow, it's just not as comfortable, and my sinuses get all cracked, and I really hate how it looks when the fields, you see a little snow, but all the grass is sticking up there. I hate that. It's a pet peeve. Hated it. Hated it as a kid. To my way of thinking, uh, when it's winter, the hills should be white. They shouldn't look like a poor effort by somebody to hide yesterday's trash under a carpet. Uh, what am I looking for? Oh yeah. Opening up a couple of my art programs. La di da di da di da di da di. And give me a minute. Waiting for it. Waiting for it. Waiting for it. Oh yeah, they're divided on Leo. Well, that's kind of the point. I wanted to drop. He's going to be competent, but he's also going to be genre blind. The point is that really the ponies are genre blind. They don't they don't see the shortcomings in their own society. And Darth Vulcan, being a non-fanboy and an outsider, can. And being a jerk, he takes advantage of it. The point behind bringing Leo in was to bring in a hero, an archetypical hero, who's just as genre blind as the ponies. And have him butt heads with Darth Vulcan for his brief time there. And he's going to be the catalyst for Darth Vulcan starting to have some rather painful and unpleasant realizations about himself. Darth Vulcan doesn't, Ted doesn't realize it, but he's oblivious to how much of a jerk he's been, how cruel he's been, how unfair he's been, how pointlessly sadistic at sometimes he's been. And to some extent, that can be blamed on the influence of the Alicorn amulet, which is dulling his responses. But it's still going to come to a shock to him to have another human being look at him and point at him and say, "You're a bully." For the first time since he's come to Equestria, that's the point of having these three champions. They're going to each show up. This is sort of his ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, if you like. Their point in coming here is to the point is for him to have a self-realization. This is his crucible, where he realizes, just what he's given up, just what a jerk he's become, and just what he's leading himself into, eventually becoming. And a lot of the readers are pleading Ted's case, Darth Vulcan's case, that he was attacked without provocation when he first arrived, etc., etc. And I pointed out, if you end up in an untenable situation and instead of backing off, you accelerate things, you escalate the situation deliberately, When the police finally come and round up 20 of your best friends after your soccer hooligan riot, they're not going to care who started it. Yeah, they took a pot, Rainbow Dash took a pot shot at him, but he deliberately walked into the village with the full intent of terrorizing the natives into doing whatever he told them. And their general argument is, but he hasn't killed anybody yet. Well, actually, he has. He just hasn't killed any ponies yet. Yeah. I don't know what to think sometimes. I really don't. The sort of things that many of these fans say, it just really, I don't know what to think. My first thought after reading some of the, everybody's saying, "Oh, poor Darth Vulcan." I'm like, "What?" Oh, and then there's, they can't make up their mind. I don't know. It's batch processed. Browse. I mean, the first thought that came to my mind is that now I understand why I see your generation on cops being dragged off in handcuffs by the police, screaming, "I didn't do nothing, man!" And meanwhile, in the background, there's a riot going on. I mean, we got people. This shouldn't surprise me. Really, we got people out there. They're out there attacking cops They attack a cop. The cop kicks their ass or shoots them, and everybody in the he didn't do nothing. That's the new name. Everybody didn't do nothing. And then they point out he attacked a cop. Oh yeah, but he was unarmed, and he was twice the cop's size. Well, the cop should have shot him in the knee or something. And it's all and on and on and on. Could we please back the truck up? I mean, here we've got a villain. Let's see. I ran down the list. Let's see. He arrived. I don't even what's the technical term for breaking into a building and trying to scare people into doing whatever you tell them to do. There's probably a dozen different legal terms for it. But on his first day, in Equestria, he committed assault and battery on at least two different individuals. Uh, Home invasion, robbery, arson, resisting arrest, vandalism, destruction of public property, destruction of private property. And that was on his first day. And after that, let's see, cannibalism. Ouch. Let's see, cannibalism. Kidnapping, resisting arrest, again, assault with a deadly weapon, and when he finally released Diamond Tiara, he also, a few hundred cases of home invasion and breaking and entering and robbery. He made an resisting arrest, escaping. What's the legal term for escaping from prison? Jailbreaking. Again, mass destruction. He dropped the whole dang castle into a lake. And the fact that it happened by accident doesn't change the fact, it was his diamond dogs digging the tunnels under the castle. So he's kind of culpable for that. Grand theft vehicle. He stole a blimp to escape. He threw a bunch of people off the top of a tower just to distract the princesses so he could escape. Reckless endangerment. He's committed two train robbery. He's stolen two trains. He basically robbed a shipment to their version of Fort Knox. Looted the Royal Library. Though you could argue that if you wanted to go into a quibble about copyright law. Oh no, the RIAA is after him now. He's screwed. And a miscellany of violent acts up to and including cruelty to animals. People don't get justice does not care that you are the hero, quote unquote, of the story. That's one of the things about the way that you remember the movie Ratatouille. They did, the heroes did everything right. They even managed to convince everybody, that the food, they won the food critic over. They told everybody what was going on, and they still lost the restaurant at the end. Why? Because they were violating health codes by having rats cook the food. Reality ensued. And I thought that was a very excellent touch. They still managed to bounce back, but I thought it was a very, very good touch. That they didn't they didn't have a magic karma button. That just because they were the good guys, there were no consequences. Also, you remember the movie? They came out with the movie version, the A-Team. I rather liked it. And it was quite good. I mean, it was the A-Team. Unless you're aiming directly for the bottom of the barrel, you're going to hit the. You're going to shoot for. You're going to be ended up shooting for the stars. You know what I'm saying? But it ended. They proved that the villain was the real bad guy, but they were still going back to jail because they basically had wreaked a path of destruction in proving their innocence. And some of it was a large part it was that the commanding officers in question were just being pricks and wanted to stick the screws to them for showing them up, but still they it acknowledged hey we wrecked all those planes, we blew up a tank, we hijacked another plane and blew that one up too, and committed all sorts of international incident, just about triggered international incidences with Switzerland and the whole 9 yards, The fact is is if Ted had been entirely benevolent in his intentions, his he still wreaked a lot of damage, and a lot of it on innocent bystanders. Regardless of what was said, Hilltop Surus, in the town of Hilltop Surus, that he destroyed, the majority of the people there were fairly innocent of the crime that was committed against the broken birds. It would be like leveling your whatever town you live in. Imagine your town. Imagine they found out that there was a massive corruption going on in City Hall, and in the various bureaucracies running the town, and the whole town got leveled right down to the last house by an angry victim of their chicanery. Uh, Thinking, still, no matter, even if it's a closely internet community, uh, there's still a lot of people who were innocent bystanders who lost everything. Uh, so he's got a lot of collateral damage here. Uh, Eiderdown in retrospect comes across as rather heartless. She was the leader of the Broken Birds, and what she said after she watched the town being reduced to rubble, she said, you know, I know I feel guilty for I feel sorry for some of those people, but uh, nobody felt sorry for us. And am I supposed to feel guilty about what happened to them? That's cold. It's understandable too, though. She went through years. She literally had her whole childhood destroyed, and not by an evil invader but by bureaucratic corruption. You're gonna want a pound of flesh after that, still. But at the end of the day, still, this is half of the reason. This is half of the reason staying with Darth Vulcan, because where are they going to go now? They also have, they have to validate and rationalize to themselves that what they did was the right course of action. They can't turn back now. Their bridges are burned. And one of them, they're at some point they're going to have to say this to Darth Vulcan. He's going to, he's going to say, at least you chose to be loyal to me, and they're going to say, uh, we didn't have a choice. We knew you were going to commit vengeance in our name. We had no idea you were going to go that far. And it's not like we can walk away. I'm going to post some of the artwork that I made for the gallery on the website. Yes, it's filler. Let's see here. Gotta give it a second. It's grinding. Round diddy round diddy round diddy round diddy round diddy round diddy round like a circle. I haven't gotten my new chips yet. Probably better check both my porches just to be sure. But yeah, I'm I qualified for food help from the government. They loaded up my card with a ridiculous amount, and all I can figure is that it's for a couple of back months or something. Because well, I'm using it and I'm using it. If they're going to give it to me, I might as well use it. So I've been stockpiling, soup and beans and flour and sugar and stuff like that. Shelf safe stuff. Canned meats like chicken and tuna, and I feel guilty about it. My inclination is to feel guilty about it, accepting government aid, but they, I came to the conclusion. I sat down and I thought it out. Should I feel guilty for accepting government aid? Should I? Every working day of my life, I've paid taxes, and every not working, I've still paid taxes, even if I had never had a salary job in my life. I pay property. I pay property tax, and I've paid business taxes, and I've paid sales taxes, and I've paid you know hidden taxes in the form of in added cost to merchandises, and inflation itself is basically a hidden tax. Inflation is where they take a dollar in taxes from you, print out $4 in monopoly money with it, and give two back, and give one back to you. And even now, despite the fact that I make less in a year than most of these government bastards spend in a month on martini lunches. They are whacking me up for $100 a month straight, no chaser, for back taxes, even as they're tallying up what they're going to charge me next year. And the majority of what they take in is money stolen from society by fraud. They have stolen money. They have stolen money from me directly by taxes, indirectly by taxes, and by loss of opportunity. And they have taken what I have given them and spent it on things that I would not only not buy, but I would be spending my money to stop if I had any free choice. And even if they gave me a thousand a month in food stamps, it would not scratch. What they have been flushing down the commode of my money every year. Maybe that sounds like self-rationalization or over justification, But tack this on. Uh, this isn't optional spending. If you know, it would be, they're going to spend that. They gave me a couple $100 in food stamps. They were going to spend that money anyway. They were going to waste it. If they're going to throw money by the shovelful into the incinerator, I'm going to be standing there inside catching as much as I can before it falls in the coals. It's humiliating and shameful to live this way. Because any man with any pretense of honesty wants to make an honest living. But the government is a shark, and I am not going to let myself be too ashamed to live like a remora. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to cheat. But I'm not going to let myself be ashamed for picking some change out of the bottom of the government's pocket. Or rather, taking whatever change falls out. Not when there are men up there who literally, live in mansions and drive limousines, who receive millions of dollars, if not, and sometimes billions of dollars from the government through chicanery, and they do it openly. to excuse me there. I dozed off for a second. Oh, goodness. Didn't realize how long I dozed off. Goodness. I do that a lot lately. Let's see, where was I? Oh, yes. Add media. Let's see. Okay, just got to give it a minute to download these files. That'll give me something to pop in there. The uncomfortable thing about the whole issue with the police and people turning on, right now, our government is militarizing the police. I'm sure that there are a lot of conscientious police officers out there. But right now, okay, first off, the police are proving to be very poorly trained. They are terrible marksmen, just for starters. They are not trained how to deal with animals or with handicapped. That sounds like a very unusual thing, but you hear in a lot of cases where they end up shooting somebody, and it turns out there was some disabled person with a spastic problem, and it freaked them out, and they just blam, 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 blam. And all the cases where they shoot these dogs, It took less than an 8-hour course in one community, an 8-hour course, and the incidences with cops shooting dogs dropped to zero because they knew how to recognize when a dog was actually dangerous, actually ready to attack. This was provoked largely. There was they did a home raid. They broke in, police, 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 and the family had this big dopey pit bull, big dopey dog, and the dog saw all these people come charging and thought, playtime, and he jumped up, all waggly tail, and ate 5 bullets. And the outrage in the community was just tremendous. Many communities, the police officers, they don't even try to see if the dogs are dangerous. If they see a dog, they'll just blam 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 blam, and walk past. And this is part and parcel of the problem. We got policemen out there who are having military hardware dumped on them. Our local police got one of these 6-wheeled armored vehicles. It's a bloody tank. That's what it is. And a couple of people, these things are going to be great for, rescuing people in flooded areas. And that's not what they're for. They're for turning on the populace. I'm sorry, there ain't no dang reason Barney Fife needs to be driving around the hills in Mayberry with a tank. Our government is militarizing the police. At the same time, it is radicalizing the ethnic population in our cities. And does that sound racist? No, it's the truth. The government, the leftists in our government, and particularly Obama and his ilk, are going out of their way to foster an angry, victim mentality in the minorities in our states. They are siding with the rioters. And what do you think's going to happen when serious shit hits the fan? They want this. They want people to riot, and they want our police force armed with weapons made for taking out cities. They are laying out the chessboard to set up a police state. And everybody, nobody's going to listen to me. Nobody out there is listening to me. Nobody out there is paying attention. Nobody is taking precautions for when this happens. I have spent most of my life, at least half my life, talking to people, warning them this is what is going to happen to society. People like me have spent decades warning people this is the consequence. This is what's going to happen. And we've been proven right again and again and again and again every step of the way. But nobody wants to believe it. The conservative people don't, the conservative, sensible people don't want to believe it because it's too horrible to be true. the liberals and progressives, they don't want to believe it because that rains on their parade. And there's a handful of people out there who will give you at least half an ear, but a small percentage will listen to you. A small percentage of that percentage will believe you. A small group after that will at least take some preventative or preparatory measures for what you have forecast. So a small handful of people, the ones that everybody else are calling loonies and laughing at on TV shows, are preparing. But there's going to be a huge segment of the population that they are going to not believe it's happening right until they're marched into the gas chambers. There are people who will walk right up, and you will tell them every step of the way what's happening and why. And say, this can't be real. This can't be real. This can't be happening. And their last words, as their heads are laid down on the chopping block, will be, "I just don't know what went wrong." Everybody's wondering why Darth Vulcan doesn't want to go back home. Why he doesn't miss his family, his friends, his home. Half of that, part of it is because the amulet is suppressing that. This is a part of the story where it's going to become more and more visible just what the amulet is doing to him. Because the amulet has its own agenda it hasn't really laid out yet. I'm just going to insert them all fully on it. Life is short. Okay, I'm just doing a little quick post. It's a collection of the character sketches. Some of them, some of them are complete, some are just beginning line sketches, that kind of thing. But here they are. They're under the probability bomb. Did it get posted where it was supposed to? Ah, darn it. I don't think it did. Yes, it did. Okay, we have 4 people in channel watching. I'm all of Twitter. Let's see here. Let's see. That doesn't look right. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Doesn't have that zing I'm looking for. Mm. Working. It's not swoopy enough. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Um, see here. Switch it over so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm really not sure I'm up to fighting these battles anymore, you know? I'd like it if something, sing out, say something, make some noise, type something in the chat room so I know that we're still, you're still there. Kind of. Okay, I need to change that. Apparently they. Okay, this. Let's see here. Let me. I got to change that message at the bottom of the screen. Uh, the Nip and Tuck Redux. Just not enough people interested. It was an idea, and it died. It failed. So there you have it. This is bad news for everybody says that's the point of having ideas. Throw everything spaghetti ideas. You throw them against the wall, see what sticks. Uh, Whoa, pardon. Okay. Somebody needs to explain to McDonald's that food should not be painful to partake. I mean, really. I hate going out. I do. I hate going out. I wish I'm glad you can't see my legs. I look freakish. And I literally cannot. I haven't got anything that will cover my legs. Uh, I will have to. I'm gonna have to buy something like 5X, 6X or larger, baggy pants or something, just to hide my legs. They're so swollen. There's nothing I can do about it either. And I'm a little scared to go back to the doctor because he's going, put me on another useless regimen of something or other. Their first brilliant idea was to send me to a therapy, therapy, where basically all they could do for me, I had to drive 30 minutes one way so I could sit in their office for an hour while they unwrapped and rewrapped my legs in bandages. And just no progress. It seemed to make a little progress at first, but then it just stalled out, and then just nothing happened, and then now it's worse than ever before, and it's wasted effort. And they wouldn't listen to me when I told them that I could probably stand a little more pressure, and that I needed more pressure than this. This isn't enough. I can wind my feet up in band-aids, and they'll shrink down in a half hour. But these fancy setups you're giving me aren't doing a thing, because they're 3 or 4 layers of material. Okay, gauze and foam rubber and I was basically supposed to stay like that for a week at a time, or rather 3 or 4 days in a row before I could go back and have them unwrap my leg, and they wash my leg and I'd start all over again, and it didn't do anything, and it was so frustrating. I mentioned, they got these machines, they can compress your legs like, with the airplanes. Yeah, right. Get more bandages. Get more bandages, nurse. Nobody cared. Nobody listened. And, well, somebody listened. For a brief while there, it looked like, there was daylight at the end of the tunnel because, oh, we got this guy who sells stuff like this. And he's been in here, and no. The Medicaid won't cover it. My Molina Healthcare won't cover it, and what they wanted for these things was, I could buy a car for less. And this wasn't even for the machine, as I recall. This was for these buckle and strap leg wraps. You put them on, and they're adjustable, and you can just, crank them down. They cost like $300 or $400 a leg. For what amounts to, for what was basically nothing more than stiff cloth with some Velcro straps attached. And me, bitter? Nah. There's no cure for my condition, and the treatments are monstrously expensive. Daniel Maurer was saying his wife has got diabetes, and the mantra going through the medical pop culture is basically to assume that it's your fault that you have it. That if you would just starve yourself down to being a 20-year-old swimsuit body athlete, well, your diabetes would go away. And they're trying to force him to, and the weight required. They basically expect him and his wife to have the same physiognomy as somebody half their age. This is what happens when government meddles in healthcare. It's what happens when government meddles in anything that it shouldn't be taken care of. And it's always the same song and dance. It's always the same song and dance. It starts out as an act of charity. Oh, you can volunteer for this. You can, it's a voluntary service that you can apply for. Blah 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 blah. And then it starts going from being voluntary to mandatory. Then it starts then it's a crime, to provide an alternative service. The governments do not like sharing power. No matter how petty that power is. Oh yeah, I know about that. I know about that. I will start writing the Unicorn story someday, but eventually. But I would like to finish what I'm already doing. I've got, let's see, one, two, three, or four stories already in the pipe. I'm still working on the Rise of Darth Vulcan. I'm still working on the audience. I'm still working on Fanfic as Crapsack 2. I'm still working on the Great Alicorn Hunt. I would like to get one of those at least finished up, reach a conclusion before I start adding to my mountain of wanna-dos. Tired. I'm very tired. Probably should have gone ahead and gotten that Yoo-hoo. Yeah. been watching Netflix, checking out some of the paranormal thriller TV shows. Hemlock Grove. I've watched one full season of it, and let me tell you, uh, I think that the writer's objective is to single-handedly support the corn syrup and red food dye industries in Hollywood. That is just gruesome beyond, just unnecessarily gruesome, pointlessly gruesome, excessively gruesome, just gore every 5 minutes. I mean, even the werewolf transformation. They did early in the season they did a full werewolf transformation. I want to see you transform into the werewolf. Okay, next full moon, you just watch. And and the protagonist is standing there, and the guy changes, and he explodes out of his own skin. I'm not kidding. His eyeballs pop out, and his teeth pop out, and his flesh splits, and it just. And then and just for an added touch, they have the werewolf. In his complete wolf form, the wolf eats the flesh that's splattered all over the place. Just no reason for it, just to be just excessively gruesome. They must go through corn syrup, red food coloring, and fake skin by the gallon. Just you could have a dime for every if you had a dime for every person who ends up with something ripped off their body, including their skin. You'd be a rich man by the end of that show. Okay, you've complete you've kind of lost me at that point. You ever watch one of these shows on? You've watched one of these shows on Netflix, and you eventually reach a point with some of them where you skim through the episodes. You get to the point where you're tired of all the drama and everybody sitting around talking and being pensive and biting their lip and being angsty and crap. And you fast forward, come on, when do you get to the plot? And you're skimming through one episode every 5 minutes. It's like, come on, figure the big mystery out already. Solve the riddle of the Sphinx or whatever it is you're doing in the show. No, just so a couple of these shows you could just and yeah, that's where I was with Hemlock Grove by the halfway point, because for the first season, because just hours and hours and hours of nothing happening. Get these people working on a TV show think that they're frickin' Shakespeare, all right? Well, actually, Shakespeare got things moving along. I don't know who they think they are. Ernest Hemingway, probably. or what's his name, the guy that wrote Ulysses. You bore me long enough, I'll just quit watching the show and go read the synopsis on TV Tropes. Oh, you did a storyline for your comic where the main characters were hunting a werewolf at a furry convention? Yeah. That costume looks so fake. I read a story once. Now, it was a parody story. There was this squirrel woman, or actually a rat woman. She was posed, cute and everything, but she posed as a furry costume wearer. The guy was parodying all the worst traits at the conventions. I heard he used the best description I've ever heard or ever read for somebody who was exhausted, had bloodshot eyes. He was describing one of the convention counter workers. And he said the guy had eyes like boiled bacon. I'm like, dude, I've so got to use that. You know, thought. I'm writing this page. This is more information really on what the nihilists, the cosmic brotherhood of nihilists. It's basically a quick synopsis of what they are and where they came from. It boils down as where they come from, and it's going to be basically the same place all these terrible social movements come from. A bunch of drunk college majors sitting around BSing about what they could get away with if they tried to do it. Look, that's where Scientology got its start. That's where most of the social movements we've seen. Marxism. Karl Marx, just an intellectual who sat around on his butt, bull crapping with a bunch of people who never had jobs either in their lives about the proletariat and everything else. And the French Revolution started out with a bunch of intellectuals getting together at what do they call them, salons, boutiques. I forget what the term was. And blowing gas out their rear about the various make the world a perfect utopia. They all start out that way. It's a bunch of intellectuals with no practical experience. The Nazi Germany, the Nazis, the National Socialists started out as a bunch of disgruntled Germans sitting around in a beer hall, huffing and snorting and borking about what what the world would be like if they ran things. Axel Lieber, the Sauerbraten, mein beer hall. And this is how it all starts. It starts with people with, uh, you know, armchair philosophies. Uh, you want to see things that have been a triumph, that have been a real success in the world. The American Revolution, this was people who went out and put their own butts on the line. They weren't sitting around in some beer hall talking about what ought to be and coming up with these bug eyed theories. These were people who had been out there and seen and done, you know? And their attitude wasn't, we could make this a perfect world. Their attitude was the world's never, the world's never going to be perfect, but we could at least expect it to be, uh, to abide. We could expect our leaders to abide by what we know is right. And make no mistake, the fundamental reason that the American Revolution turned out the way it did is because the men who led it went before God Almighty and pleaded for both his intercession and his guidance, and listened for it. Uh, don't go, pray for America. You know, don't ask God to help America if you don't want to hear His advice. And most of the people out there don't want to hear God's advice. They don't want to hear that their alternative lifestyles need to go. They don't want to hear stop uh, aborting people and aborting babies. They don't want to hear stop plundering one group of people so that you can bribe others. They don't want to hear that. They do not want to hear that. They want, they don't want God's help. They want God's intercession. They want God to come down and fix everything so they can go back to playing in the pig pen. Tragic news, ladies and gents. Tragic, tragic news. If we want God's help, we have to heed His commandments. Something tells me it's going to take a little while to get this page just right. this is true whether you're talking an individual or an entire world. Quite frankly, most of the trouble we plead to God to rescue us from, we wouldn't have in the first place if we listened to Him in the first place. this is, this is everyone, but this is my sin too. We all want God's, pardon, help, but we don't want we do not want His authority. I do this myself. I have so many sins in my life. I struggle with them more often than not. I just simply give in. And when trouble comes knocking, I'm first, oh, save me, Jesus, save me. Help me, Jesus, help me. But I'm not willing to listen to what He has to say about my life and how to make it right. I'm praying to God that He will forgive me for that. He helps steer my heart back to His way of doing things in all the ways, great and small, in my life. A couple of people were writing that they found it hard to believe that Leo, the new character in The Rise of Darth Vader, they have a hard time believing that Leo could be a college student with two demanding majors, that he could have, that he could be a member of the SCA, and a LARPer and a game and a role player, and he could also be a powerlifting athlete all at the, all at the same time. They would have any time at all to do all this stuff, and I was like, dude, dudes, I could tell you stories of people that you would not believe. I am not lying. There are people out there. There are people out there that if you submitted them as a character, if you submitted them as a character for your next Dungeons and Dragons or Call of Cthulhu or whatever game you're playing, the dungeon master will laugh you out of the room. Audie Murphy comes to mind. Audrey Murphy, man, that dude was unbelievable. He's a shrimpy little guy, even by the standards of World War II times, I mean, just an engine of destruction. At one point, he took over a burning that was on fire, and used the machine gun to mow down dozens of enemy soldiers single-handed. While everybody else was running away before the trying to get minimum safe distance before the explosion. He was standing there with a tank burning around him. Wasting Axis soldiers left and right. I mean, this guy, he was a decorated war hero. He did most of his incredible acts while suffering from malaria. And then he came home and he became a Hollywood movie star. If you read the life story of Arnold Schwarzenegger, you never believe it. If you read the story of every day you can look up people like that all online. It just people who are athletes and musicians and stage performers and who served in the military or in the police forces, and they did all this crap all at the same time. A college student LARPer who tries to keep in shape by powerlifting, that's nothing. That's why I had him be a powerlifter. Is interesting factoid is Arnold Schwarzenegger's build is not a very powerful build. Oh, he's strong. He's strong. But his body, his Mr. Universe body at its peak was not as strong as a typical power lifter. Power lifters are shaped like beer barrels. And they usually have a good layer of fat on them, too. For fuel and padding, basically. Because they eat hearty. These guys you see up on... Okay. First of all, that skinny-waisted, broad shoulder, they have no core body strength. They're susceptible to hernias, slip discs, and worse. The powerlifter starts out by building up his core body strength, his abdomen, his upper torso, his torso. And this is why Wilson Fisk keeps catching all his enemies by surprising, because he's realistic. He really is. Because he looks like a tub of butter until you get close enough to realize that most of that isn't fat. I read this post by one guy who's into bodybuilding. He sneered at the powerlifters. Oh, they're just doing how nobody cares how much you can lift, and they're just not willing to dedicate what it takes to get a proper Charles Atlas body. And I wrote a comment. So basically, you would choose an exercise program that would leave you weaker, less healthy, and more prone to injury. You would spend more time on it, up to the point that you're consuming half your life, and all because of the opinions of other people. Like, aren't you a Rhodes Scholar? Okay, these power lifters, if you can be that, if you can make yourself that strong in less time, what's the point? What's the point of sculpting your body into this? Look, everybody talks about unrealistic body images for women and young girls. Charles Atlas, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, they're not just unrealistic, they're unhealthy. When you see these guys standing up on stage posing and flexing, they are literally at their sickest and weakest right then. Because one of the things they do, they will starve themselves and they will dehydrate themselves. They'll take diuretics. They'll even use suppositories that flush water out of their body to get that saran-wrapped skin look. Those aren't athletes. They're models. And they're ruining their bodies trying to look the way a human being absolutely positively should not look. That's the hysterical thing about it. That's why I made Leon. He's just to catch people off guard, and it's realistic too. That's what I find so funny. That's what it amuses me to no end. That this guy could exist in real life. That he could be this big, hulking, fat-looking dude, and it would turn out that he was stronger and fitter and in better shape than an entire room full of bodybuilders. That's it. It's there in the name, bodybuilder. They're not making themselves healthy. They're shaping themselves, sculpting themselves into an just the same as these anorexic ballerinas and fashion models. It's ridiculous. But because of Arnold Schwarzenegger, uh, and his type, our culture has this image in our mind of these weightlifters looking like that. And that they're supposed to be the pinnacle of health. They're not. To get that way, they have to gorge themselves on food. First off, if you see a powerlifter, steroids. Your muscles do not build like that naturally. Let me see if I can find the image. I believe I showed this to you before. Yeah. Got a little bit of a lag there going on. I hope getting those memory chips speeds things up a little bit. I could definitely use it. Okay, just a second here. I'm having to wade through some things here. Popped a joint. Ouch, that hurts. Oh well. Anyway, it's no point. But I've made my point. I made my point. So. And grind, 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 grind. I kind of regret that I didn't plant any sunflowers. I like sunflowers. I probably should have, I should have gotten a little pot or something, planted a few. Oh goodness. Let's see, file. This page is a little slow going, I suppose. They all are these days. It's lagging, 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 slow, so slow. Darn it. I believe it defrags on a regular basis. I think it's scheduled to defrag at night. I'll have to. What are you saying? Who did the quick draw with a slap to the face? Oh, the Trinity movies. I remember those. I'll probably have it. Yeah, probably a good tip. I'll have a defrag later. It's just that this, what's the majigger? This browser, I'll check the process. It'll just be eating up memory like crazy. This one program, this browser. Come on, computer. Task manager. See, I've got 3 windows open, and Firefox, out of all the programs on my computer, it is eating 1,300 megabytes. A fourth of my computer's capacity right now. A fourth of my computer's CPU capacity. Okay, I'm going to stop this and then I'm going to restart it here. Hang on. Well, this jackass just called Christianity a cult, and let's see. For some reason, people find it acceptable to believe blatant stupidity and lies designed to ruin one's cognitive abilities. Okay, here. Bye bye. Bye bye, Necromancer. I don't think you're going to be opening your mouth anymore here. Okay, Griffin Spade. Let's see. Uh, he's made no claim that, I've made no, quoting him, I've made no claim that he's any kind of hero. He's clearly an anti-hero, but neither is the pony's side good. They never even bothered trying to make actual peace with him, shooting first instead of asking questions, making them the clear anti-villains. I'm curious as to what circumstances he thinks. Look, let's take it from the top. He arrived. His first act, by his own admission, in fact, when he was being held prisoner, he admitted this was his intention. He marched into town with his first three minions right behind him, armed and dangerous, and began ranting and roaring. His intention, deliberately, was to scare the crap out of everyone and intimidate them into doing whatever he said. He thought he was going to basically walk in and take over. Well, he got the first half right. He scared the crap out of everyone. And they exploded into a screaming, hysterical panic stampede, which he was not expecting. And his actions ever since have, his response at every turn has been to escalate the conflict. Oh, he's careful enough not to escalate it in the wrong direction. He doesn't kill casually. He doesn't attack targets that would inflame the populace against him. But when his reaction at every turn has been to escalate the entire situation. The ponies have not really made they're not negotiating with him because he is not behaving from their perspective like a rational operative. The last person to wear the Alicorn amulet in their experience was driven crazy by it. And he is out there behaving in ways that even Sombra and Chrysalis never contemplated. They're not trying to negotiate peacefully with him because they believe that ship has sailed. And they're probably right. I might try Edge. I might. I don't like Edge because I don't like Internet. I never liked Internet Explorer. And I don't like somebody trying to sell me the same old product in a brand new shiny package. maybe next time. Well, we'll see. I'll try using Edge for the next show. Okay, it is 9:24. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Thank you all for attending. Thank you all for listening. Well, that's life. If it doesn't block ads, that's life. Unsurprising. But anyway, we'll see you all tomorrow night. Hopefully, make more headway on the page. Get some work done. You all take care of yourselves, and you have yourselves a good night. Say a prayer for all of us. God knows we need him.